All political power comes from the barrel of a gun, were the words of Mao Zedong and the words many still hold true today. Mao Zedong grew up in Shaoshan, Hunan, China as the son of a peasant family. Raised with little education and working full-time at the age of 13, Mao grew very ambitious. Later in his life, Mao worked as a librarian at the Beijing University Library where he studied Marxist books. Marxist books glorified communism. After reading about the revolution, which established a communist Soviet Union and was successful, Mao grew inspired. He envisioned a communist China. Mao then helped to create and serve as a member for the Chinese Communist Party in 1921. In order to help his communist agenda, he sought support from the peasants by supporting peasant uprisings against their landlords who charged high rents and interests. So when Jiang Jieshi became leader of the Kuomintang, which was the political party that ruled China, Mao grabbed power from Jiang. Jiang promised democracy but failed to follow through and turned corrupt. This angered peasants. The peasants resultantly grew support for the Communist Party.
Maoism is a political theory derived from the teachings of the Chinese political leader Mao Zedong. Mao was a nationalist, and his ideas had been strongly anti-Western and anti-imperialist even before he became attracted to Marxism, the political theories of Karl Marx. Mao Zedong attempted to recreate the form of communism Stalin used in Russia by building socialism. Socialism was having more equal economic classes, so the rich were not better than the poor. In the mid-1950s, however, he and his advisors reacted against the results of this policy, which he used a harsh form of communism. Mao Zedong was significant because he founded the People's Republic of China and was responsible for the disastrous policies of the Cultural Revolution and the Great Leap Forward. Mao was a Chinese communist leader who reshaped Chinese society in what is seen by many as a negative way.
To start off his dictatorship, Mao first became the chairman of the Chinese Communist Party in 1943. Later, in early 1949, Mao and his Red Guards defeated the reigning Chinese political party known as the Kuomintang, who ruled from 1927 to 1948. This was a major step in his dictatorship because it eliminated a major political party of China. After his victory, he held a mass execution that lasted for 4 years, known as the Great Purge. During that time, he executed landowners and people in support of a republic. He killed over 1 million of his own people. Trying to eliminate yet another political party, Mao held 5 anti-capitalist campaigns and hundreds of thousands were executed. To further eliminate other parties, Mao banned all parties other than the Chinese Communist Party in 1952. 2 years later, in 1954, he became the president of the People's Republic of China. During this time, from 1953 to 1958, he launched his first 5-year plan to industrialize China. In 1956, he held a trick campaign called the 100 Flowers Campaign, in which he encouraged criticism of his government by the people and ended up rooting out the dissidents. From 1958 to 1962, the Great Leap Forward became his second 5-year plan. People joined communes and no longer worked for themselves, but worked for all people in their commune. Mao's goal was to improve China's industrialization and agriculture. Mao took farmers away from their jobs in order to have more people working with backyard furnaces to create steel. This caused the major famine of all time, killing 40 million people. Later, in 1966, he called for the youth of China to work in his Cultural Revolution in order to demolish what he called the Four Olds. The Four Olds were old customs, old culture, old habits, and old ideas. During this time, they destroyed such things as pets, ancient temples, ancient artwork, buildings, and even had the nation's students beat intellectuals to death. Mao wanted to get rid of the old ways while pushing towards communism.
Mao Zedong's leadership ended due to medical problems. His power was weak after the famine. In his attempt to regain control, he launched the Cultural Revolution of 1966. This revolution aimed to purge the impure elements of the country and revive the revolutionary spirit. 1 million people died due to the act, and most of China's cultural heritage was destroyed. Most of the cities were unsettled and on the verge of anarchy. Mao sent troops into the cities to restore peace and order. Later on, he tried to make connections with the U.S., Japan, and Europe. President Richard Nixon went to China in 1972 and met with Mao. After these events, Mao appeared victorious. However, his health was quickly decaying. Mao was a heavy smoker, and it was state secret that he had multiple heart and lung problems. It was theorized that he also may have had Parkinson's disease and Lou Gehrig's disease. His last appearance in public was on May 27, 1976. Mao suffered 2 major heart attacks, one in March and one in July. He suffered a third on September 5th, which rendered him invalid. 4 days later, he died at midnight, on September 9, 1976, at the age of 82. Mao was embalmed and put on display in the Great Hall of the People. 1 million people came by paying respect, most crying while others displayed some form of sadness.